What's going on, everybody? It's the Bull Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Today, I want to talk about Coby White's return against the Los Angeles Lakers, what could it mean for many other games in the future, and just how gradual we can see the improvement from Coby White out of his first game until hopefully future games to come, until he's back to his old self. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bull Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the progression of Coby White, and when do you think he'll be fully ready to be able to turn back into his old self? Because I think we've all taken a patience approach in relation to Coby White. He's definitely someone we need to be very patient with. He's come off of a 5-month really, shoulder injury, and he might not get that rhythm back straight away, as we saw in his return against the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, obviously, what we saw from Coby White in that Lakers game, we can talk about that relatively quickly because I didn't mention it much in my game reaction. What we saw from Coby White, he obviously had 1 rebound. He only took 2 shots that game. One of them was a misfire. The other one, I believe, was blocked by one of the centers. And in the end, he was relatively passive in that game. One other thing we do need to mention is that he was on a minutes restriction. Billy Donovan said prior to Coby White entering that game that he was going to play roughly around 10 to 18 minutes. He only played 11 minutes in that game, or 10 minutes and 50 seconds, whatever you want to call the fine margins or whatnot. But 10 to 11 minutes is what he played for the Chicago Bulls in this game against the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, what I saw from Coby White, there was obviously, it's good to see him back on the court again. He was definitely trying to give a lot of effort in those 10 minutes. At the end of the day, his defense might not be there just yet, and hopefully he can get there. And obviously his offense is not there. He's very passive offensively. He wasn't taking too many shots in those 10 minutes of gameplay. But what you saw from Coby White is that he was willing to give that effort. And that's the positive to take away. He did give a lot of effort in his 10 minutes of game time. And that's what you need to see. You need to see the effort. If all else fails, if all else doesn't go your way, especially coming off of an injury, you have to work hard. And that's what we saw from Coby White. But obviously we would like to see a little bit more from Coby White. Now, funnily enough, again, when we win the way that we win against the Los Angeles Lakers, we didn't need Coby White to come in and take over straight away. Obviously, depending on different players, some players can come in and drop 30 points and in their return, and they're just back to their regular self straight away. And other players, it will take them a week, take them 2 weeks, maybe even take them a month, or just a solid amount of game time, consistency in games, just to get their rhythm back. And I think that's what we need to see from Coby White. We will see him play against the Portland Trail Blazers most likely, and I'm not sure how long this minutes restriction is going to be on him, but if I had to take a guess, at the end of the day, if Coby White is going to take some time to recover, I see those minute restrictions being pretty consistent in relation to Coby White for the next couple of games, at least in the West. I see the minute restrictions returning in the game against the Portland Trail Blazers, potentially. Of course, we'll know just closer to game time. We'll know, again, if he has minutes restrictions against Portland, there might be minutes restriction against Denver. And then maybe we see a little bit of a restriction lifted against the Knicks. And then we go again against the Pacers. There are a lot of games here for Coby White to improve. So now, with the minutes restrictions hopefully getting lesser and lesser and lesser every game, what I want to see from Coby White is just to be a little bit more aggressive. I think the passiveness of Coby White is definitely something that was really noticeable in the game. Again, only 2 shots in the game, 1 rebound. He wasn't someone that was trying to force his way into really bad shots or force his way into unnecessary shots. And that's obviously good as well. When it comes to Coby White, it's shot selection as well. It's not just, oh, let's chuck up 50 shots and see what happens. It's not like that at all with Coby White. Also needs to be some decent shot selection in there, because he's a prolific scorer when you give him the right shots to take. And he definitely knows his way around the basketball court offensively. So off of the bench, it's going to be difficult for him just to jump, give tons and tons and tons of shots. So 2 shots is not bad in 10 minutes, in my opinion. But I just think the passiveness of his game is something that we're going to gradually see improve over time. I don't see him being as passive, per se, against the Portland Trail Blazers as he was against the LA Lakers. And I don't see him being as passive in the Portland game. I see him being less passive in the Denver Nuggets game. And I think we're going to continue to see that gradual improvement from Coby White. And one other thing that I was really interested to see is that there were some times in the game where he did have the ball in his hands and he was kind of there to make a play. So maybe seeing Coby White as a point guard per se is gone. I don't think we're going to see him as a main point guard of the team, but I think Billy Donovan does trust him enough to put the ball in his hands at times and see what he can do. He's not going to be the main point guard or the main ball handler on the team. He's not going to be, again, if DeMar's on the team, most likely he'll take the ball up. If Lonzo's playing with Coby White, most likely Lonzo will take the ball up. But there could be some times where we see Coby White take the ball up and try to make a play for himself. He did have a really strong end to the season where he was able to facilitate and score at a decent level in the last month of last season. And we did see a little bit of him handling the ball in those 10 minutes. And he was able to do, I wouldn't say a great job, but it wasn't a terrible job whatsoever. Again, he didn't get many stats in the game, so it's hard to decipher with only 10 minutes of game. But it's going to be interesting to see how we use Coby White in this 10-man rotation. It's going to be interesting to see the actual rotation of the team. We did see with Coby White, he played in the second quarter, he played in the late third, and he played in the fourth as well. And it was all sporadic minutes. But we didn't see him in the first quarter. So again, I'm really intrigued to see how Billy Donovan continues to use those minutes, the minutes restrictions. Will it go up to 18 minutes against the Portland Trail Blazers? That's something I'm really interested to see. And with more time, what can we see from Coby White for him to get back to his best? We all know he's a hard worker. We all know he's someone that we're very patient on. We all know he's someone that we could definitely, hopefully rely on in terms of bench scoring down the line. But I'm interested to see how Billy Donovan and how the coaching staff, how the medical staff continue to see Coby White going into future games. We do have another back-to-back soon in the Knicks and the Pacers, I believe. Will Coby White play a back-to-back? That's something I'm really interested in as well, because it's not really a leg injury, it's a shoulder injury. But sometimes there's some players that just can't play back-to-backs. Is Coby White going to be one of those players in this upcoming season, or at least in this period of time where he's starting to just come back? We shall wait and see. And obviously, the fitness, the training, that's all going to come to Coby White as well. That's also something we're going to expect to see more and more and more of. He only started training pretty much on this Western Conference trip, pretty much. He was training with the game before the Warriors. Obviously, he was training before the Clippers, and he returned against the Lakers. So he's not had too much training in relation to the Chicago Bulls. Obviously, the fit is not there. We don't know where Coby White's supposed to be on the court. Coby White doesn't know where his positioning is on the court and all of that. And that's going to come with more game time as well. So this is the things that I see from Coby White in just 10 minutes of game. What we could see to improve in more game time against other teams. And how good could he be? And how long will it take? I think it's going to take him a couple of weeks. I think he could be as good as we saw him last year. Obviously, the stats might not be 16 points and 5 assists because he was a starter in majority of that time where he was getting those stats. But I could definitely see him averaging around 10 to 13 points per game this year when he's at his true best for the Chicago Bulls. I could definitely see that being the case. And hopefully that is the case for the Chicago Bulls. But I'm going to end this video here. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Again, this is just a short update video of what I saw from Coby White. We are a mere few hours away from the Portland Trail Blazers game, where we are all pretty much just as excited to see what Coby White could do in this game. I think we're all waiting for him to score his first couple of points, because if he's able to do that, that might just lift the lid off of things and he can get back to that confidence that we all see from him. Sometimes for a player, especially a scorer, all it takes is one shot to go in and things change. You saw that with Vucevic against the Brooklyn Nets. He had one good three, and then he didn't miss a shot after that. And obviously he had a really strong game in the next one against the Mavericks. Sometimes for shooters, all it takes is one shot to go in and everything changes. So that's probably what we're going to be waiting to see when that will happen for Coby White. And I have no doubt about it that it will happen for Coby White one way or another. And it's just about the time when it's going to happen. Is there going to be minutes restrictions on these performances and all of that? We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned. I'll see you all against Portland. Take care and peace.